ask you something because you're a doctor, right?
Yeah.
I don't like myself sometimes. Can you help me?
Barry, I'm a dentist.
Hi, this is Georgia.
This is Barry.
Hello, hello, hello. My name is Steven, and this is the Movie Club Podcast. And this week, I have a guest with me who's never been on the show before. It's my friend, old co-worker, doing big things now. Byron, you want to say hi to the people, Byron?
Hello. I am Byron. This is the Movie Club Podcast, and I have never been on this podcast before.
Yes. And thank you, Byron, for being with me here today. We're here to discuss Paul Thomas Anderson's 2002 Adam Sandler movie.
Adam Sandler, yeah.
Punch Drunk Love. It's a drama, it's a comedy, it's a romance, all wrapped into one. I went into this movie, I knew the hype behind it, but I had never seen Paul Thomas Anderson movie before. I knew that Adam Sandler was in it, and I knew it was a more of a serious role for him compared to, like Jack and Jill and Blended and other Click. He does some pretty serious things in Click. You can't not Click. Click is.
I'm not saying that Click isn't a serious book. It is also based on pausing time in your entire life.
Yes, this is. Yeah, and I wish I had the universal remote. But yeah, I went in not really knowing what to expect. I knew it was Paul Thomas Anderson. He's a serious filmmaker. Everyone loves his stuff. Adam Sandler's serious role. So I was guessing that it was going to be good. I wasn't expecting it to be this good to me.
Oh, definitely. It was very rocky at first for me. Like the first, I want to say maybe the first 5-10 minutes is so disorienting, I guess. Yeah. It's disorienting. Like I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, this is fine. Like I'm nothing crazy is happening, but I also don't understand. Like his body is making me uncomfortable. Any other character like that shows up in the first 5 to 10 minutes is making me uncomfortable. Like it's just a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
It's so weird. It's like within the first minute I was laughing, but it wasn't like a laugh that I would have gotten from a normal Adam Sandler movie, because he was talking about the promotion for the airline and the healthy choice. And he's talking on the phone. He was like, "Do you understand that this is way too good of a deal, and like the monetary value just doesn't add up?" And then I was like, "What are you talking about?"
I was like, first off, don't do that. It's a great deal. You don't ask them questions. You just ask questions to clarify if you will get all those miles.
Right.
Like beyond that, don't ask any other questions.
Right. And I was just laughing. I was just like, what? I mean, within like the first minute, like I said, I you could tell that something was off. It was just weird. I enjoyed the movie, and that's what I'm gonna say first. It, like I said, it was weird for me, but it was also like it had like a warm, like a lovely kind of energy to it. And like when the movie ended, it felt like a I got a hug that I didn't know I needed.
Mm-hmm.
It was very strange, and I like immediately wanted to watch it again, but I didn't have time.
I watched it, and that warm feeling was like after the first 5 to 10 minutes weirdness, here comes the nice warm feeling. And then I spent almost the entirety of the rest of the movie being like, oh my God, what is going to ruin this nice warm feeling?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my God, they're going to steal his identity and it's going to be the worst thing ever. And I'm like,
yeah.
Oh no. And then like he gets called back and I'm like, okay, everything's fine. He got the call back. This is just going to be a really nice, chill conversation, and then it's going to end. Or maybe he's in love with the person who's on the phone or whatever, and like they get together. And I was like, that did not happen. But I wasn't worried about that, but I was stressed out.
It was very. You've seen Uncut Gems.
Yes, I have not seen Uncut Gems.
You haven't seen Uncut Gems? Okay.
I haven't seen Uncut Gems because I watched Good Time, and Good Time was stressful, and everybody was like, "Yeah, it's way worse than Good Time," and I was like, "Well, why would I give myself a heart attack on purpose for 2 hours?"
It is definitely anxiety inducing. And like you said, like this movie, part of it had me like that too. Like there's a scene where Adam Sandler's character Barry is at work and like his sister's there and like there's a forklift going and there's just like so many questions and like everyone's talking to him, and it reminded me of Uncut Gems, and I want you to watch that movie just because you'll be like, oh wow, Adam Sandler likes to do roles where he just like makes himself, his character just like is just in a panicked state, or like everything around him is like crumbling.
Yeah. I actually really liked that bit because that's the first bit where you're like introduced to Lena, whose name is not revealed, I think, until later on.
Yeah.
At that moment, you don't know her name.
Right.
So I really like that one because she's like, oh my God, we should like check on that. That's like really, really important. And Barry's like more calm than he's been the previous 20 minutes. Like when they got to the office, he was super stressed out. But the second there's actual chaos, he's like, no, it's like fine. So like, what's up with you? Would you like to spend the rest of your life with me? I mean, he doesn't say that, but I'm just the vibe.
And he that in that moment when he just like knocks on the glass, he's like, no, they're fine. You guys are okay? And then he just like continues the conversation. I was just like, what is going on? The absolute least committed knock on in the world. Like it's the first hit is a knock, and then his hand kind of like slides on the glass as he's like already turning around. Yeah, very, very. Yes, you're right. It's like very limp wrist, just like just barely even tapping the glass.
It's just not committal.
It's
incredibly non-committal.
Yeah. I liked the look of this movie. It wasn't. I want to say that it wasn't very consistent, like throughout, because like it's like when Lena, this spoilers. We'll get into everything. It's hard to not do spoilers about this movie.
Yeah, of course.
When they're leaving the restaurant, and when Barry and Lena are leaving the restaurant, and they're like walking to the car and everything, it looks like it reminded me of La La Land, and I said out loud to Morgan, and I was like, it looks like La La Land. There was like the lighting and like the whole atmosphere of it. It reminded me of La La Land. But then like at the beginning, like the first shot is like Adam Sandler in a desk in a corner with like half the wall is white, half the white wall is blue, and it's just like not very interesting to look at.
Another thing is that first opening shot is so weird because visually it doesn't match up with what they established as the space for the office.
Yeah,
like he's sitting in like it's like significantly wider. It's out. He's not like in a room. He's in a corner of the warehouse, just like there being weird. Nobody else is near him.
Right.
And that's the shot that they chose. And he's having this very, very weird phone call. And it's like, what are you trying to do right now? Because then you establish the office, and it's like this office is not big enough for that shot to make sense.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
And they later go to that desk, and like you said, it just like kind of just doesn't make sense because it's like I don't think we know the character's name. Oh no, it was Lance, the other warehouse worker that was like under Barry. He's like sitting at the desk, and he goes to him, and he's talking to him at the desk. And then there's another shot where the sister is talking to Barry, and like you said, that just like doesn't make sense. And I don't know, it was weird. Like when also in that when like Rhonda, and every time that Rhonda and Barry are talking by themselves in the warehouse, I've noticed like Barry always gets like backed into a corner, Like he gets backed into the corner when they're talking at the desk, and then like when they're in his like little office space with the harmonium, he like gets pushed into a corner when she's like asking him all these questions. Which I mean, obviously it means something because
I literally do not like any of the sisters. All of the sisters are my enemy.
They're so, oh my god,
they're awful. So like they're so mean. They're so like abusive. They very clearly all understand that their brother has this problem, and then none of them properly acts the way, like, if you knew that your sibling had a problem, you would act better in the future so that you would not trigger that problem. Why would you mention a time when he had an incredibly violent episode to him? Why would you do that?
And over again.
Over and over again from every single sister. He said, I have 7 sisters. I only counted, like, I only saw 6, I think.
Yeah.
But like, that's insane. You have 7 sisters. Every single one of those sisters, from the second you entered this house, are mentioning this terrible moment to you that you vehemently are denying.
And they were talking about it before he got into the house too. And then they saw him. They didn't like try to change the subject or anything. They brought it up to him. They're like, hey, you remember this time where you had like a really bad time? And it was just like really weird.
They refuse to respect his agency. They refuse to respect his space. So when he gets aggressive with Rhonda on the phone about getting Lena's phone number, I'm like, okay, this is a lot. You're being very aggressive, but also at the same time, I don't fucking like her.
Right. That was very, I mean, she deserved it, but like, it was very aggressive.
It was aggressive. It definitely escalated a lot.
Yeah. And it's like, it's also like the language when Lena and Barry are like making out in bed, and he was like, you're so cute, or she was like, you're so pretty, I want to smash your face in. Oh, and she was like, yeah, I want to scoop your eyes out and eat them.
So my whole thing with that is that, so Phoebe was watching that and she was like, ha ha ha, that's so funny, and I was like, no, that's not funny, it's weird and I hate it, thanks. But like, my entire thing about that was like, what if Lena is also crazy?
Yeah.
Also crazy. I spent the entire movie like, Lena has to also be crazy because of the whole like dropping off the fake car that is in perfect condition thing. And then like, she kind of rolls with all the punches in a way that is really nice, and that you want somebody who loves you to roll with all the punches. But also, you've known him for 2 days, less than 2 days if you count the actual time that you've spent with him, and you're just rolling with the punches a little bit too hard.
Yeah. And it's like the conversation that they have in the restaurant where he's like, okay, let's just keep this between you and me. And then he says the thing about the pudding, and I was just like, and then she's like, that's weird, but I like you. And it just like continues to go on.
Exactly.
And it's also like, there's definitely something wrong with her too, because it's like, I think she said it like twice. She was like, your sister showed me a picture of you and your brothers and sisters, and I was like, okay, I want to meet him. Yeah. And like, just off the picture, and was like
just off the image, she saw him with 7 sisters, and she was like, oh man, that's the guy. Yeah. That's the guy that I am going to preemptively kind of weirdly semi-stalk.
Yeah. And she's like, as soon as she brought up like Hawaii, she was like, yeah, you should come with me to Hawaii. And I was like, you've known him for like 2 hours, maybe. Like you've had like
a little less than 2 hours.
Yeah, like less than 2 hours. You had like, you've spoken like maybe like 2 conversations to each other. One of which was like fake when you dropped off the car.
Exactly. Yeah. And she's just very open to the idea. And at that moment, it's weird because like, she very much has always been into him. Like from the moment that she saw him, she was into him. But he was like, okay, well, I'm kind of hesitant. I want you to think well of me right now while we're having this conversation about Hawaii, but I'm also kind of hesitant. And then she like, okay, I guess I gotta give up. And she goes to her car. She's like, I'll meet Rhonda at the restaurant. And she like gets to her car. She's about to put her keys in, and she's like, actually, no, I'm not gonna do that. You're going on a date with me. And she goes back in and she finds him with this really nice shot that like kind of basically shows what the outside of the warehouse is. It has like these two giant like garage gates, and she like gets to him, and it's him trying to solve the problem that he viciously ignored for her. And she's like, I'm gonna go out and eat, and you're going to come with me. Here's my phone number, here's my address, you're gonna pick me up. And all the other workers are just staring at Barry, not saying a word. That's also something else that I also really like. The workers all really love Barry.
Yeah.
Like, he's weird, he does weird things, he says weird things. None of the things that he does make sense. Like, he's probably not an actual, like, good person to work under, but they love him, you know?
Yeah. They treat him like a brother.
Yeah, they treat him like a brother.
Sisters.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
I feel
he has
like
a significantly better relationship with them.
I think that the warehouse workers are the only characters in this movie that aren't just like aggressive at any point.
Yeah.
It's like Lance is not aggressive at any point. But everyone else, even, I mean, especially like
everybody else,
like the sister, even in the way she walks, like when she was like, oh my gosh, when she was talking to Lena at the edge of the warehouse and was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I don't know what's wrong with him and why he's wearing that stupid suit. And then she like walks back and her hair was just like flowing in the wind so aggressively. I was like, oh my God, like she was just gonna walk up and stab him.
Oh my God. I was thinking, because this movie was made in 2002, like when he's on the phone with the like call line and she's like, let me get your social security number. I'm like, that's weird. You usually only need, like, I've ordered pizza on the phone before, so I'm like, you only need the numbers on the front and the back.
Yeah.
And the name, like, that's it. That's all you need. And then I was thinking, what damage can you do with somebody's card, their address, their name, and their social security number in 2002?
Yeah.
Man.
And it's like when you talk to the bank on the phone, it's like, hey, we just want to verify who we're talking to. What's the last four of your social? They don't ask for your
they don't ask for your whole social. They never ask for your whole social.
And over the phone too. Yeah.
Over the phone. Oh my God.
And then he was just like, why do you need this again? He's like, oh yeah, we just need to talk to the bank or whatever. He was like, cool. And then
he was like, cool. Like, I appreciate that singular moment of hesitation where somebody at some point in time told him that his social security number is important and that he should know it and that he shouldn't tell anybody it. And he like remembered that, and he was like, okay, well, I haven't memorized, so here you go. Just take it from me. Take my entire identity. Jesus Christ. Man.
What I was trying to think after the movie in preparing for this, like what the harmonium and the car crash at the beginning, what significance they have. I mean, like, obviously they're a metaphor for something, and I'm not gonna pretend like I have everything figured out and I know what they mean.
No, of course.
I've been trying to figure out like what they mean, and something that I thought of just like a couple minutes ago is maybe the car crash is something that like to represent that something abruptly is going to change his life for the worst, and then the harmonium is the exact opposite. Something is going to change his life for the best.
That's nice. I like that. So what I was thinking was, so like, I can't remember any movie off the top of my head, but sometimes movies are like, here is before, here is after. And early on in that first 5-10 minutes being so disorienting is kind of, I guess, to like acclimate us to Barry's world, like where Barry is at mentally all the time, you know, because Barry will go from destroying a bathroom in a restaurant to coming out and being like, okay, yeah, so like, how's your food? How's your breadsticks? You know, like not because he's hiding what he just did, but because his mind is in a completely different place than it was 5 seconds ago when he was tearing up that bathroom, you know? And so the car crash is like the violent attack, and then the harmonium is the just mental peace.
Oh, wow.
Even though getting to the mental peace is rocky, because the van zooms up, door opens, people rush to grab the harmonium and put it on the street, and then they zoom off, so that's kind of where I was with the whole car crash harmonium thing. But the car crash happened and I was like, excuse me, that car crash just occurred. What happened?
And then he goes back later, and there's still like pieces of it in the road. Like he goes to pick up and I was like, there's no cops or no police line or anything. I really like what you said, because it is when he has those moments like in the bathroom in the restaurant, it really is that quick, like the car crash, and then like immediately after the harmonium gets dropped off, and it's damn. I
also really like the use of semis in this movie, because like he's like looking out onto the street and he's looking out onto the rubble and the harmonium, and then a truck whizzes by and the truck is so close and the car crash just happened that you're like, is this guy gonna get hit by a semi this early in the movie? But instead, like it like hides him grabbing the harmonium. He like waited for it to pass by before he even touched the harmonium. He was like, okay, I'll use this moment of chaos to like take this thing that I want. Wow, that was the whole thing.
And that's there. I noticed, I didn't think about that, but there's a moment when they leave the restaurant that there's a semi truck just like going down the street. So I wonder if that second semi truck, I was like, because to get into the nitty gritty of the movie and what defines most of the conflict, I thought that semi was the car that the mattress man had given to the folks, and that he was gonna get jumped outside of the restaurant, but then they didn't, and that was nice. But there is like that there was like that impending kind of doom feeling.
Because I think that scene wraps up right before we actually get into the restaurant. Until we get into the restaurant, we're like, okay, he's chatting with her, let's see how he's going to mess this up. When he doesn't mess it up, obviously, because she's in love with him already.
Right. And then she's talking, and then in the story again that comes up about him smack with the hammer, and then that makes him go into the bathroom and destroy it. I really liked when the manager came up to him and like was talking to him about it, but then he says this line, and he's like, well, Barry's like, sir, please don't do this to me. Just like, please let me stay. And like, whatever. He like wants to keep the peace in that moment and wants to stay with Lena in the restaurant and like have this be a good time. And the guy just like looks at him and he's like, sir, I will knock your fucking head off. I was like, oh my God.
I was like, yo, this is so aggressive. I cannot believe that you're doing this. He's like, I have no proof at all, but your hand is bleeding. Get out. And then they follow them all the way out of the restaurant. I was like, yo, if he's sitting here trying to be cordial, trying to be peaceful, and he's with his lady, why do you think he's going to cause a ruckus between his seat and exiting the restaurant? I mean, I guess it's just protocol or whatever. But everybody's so mean. Everybody is so mean.
They really are. They're so mean. Oh, my God.
And so I'm thinking of Georgia, whatever her name is, Letitia?
Yeah, Letitia/Georgia.
Yeah, something like that. Whatever. Oh my! I really did not like her. Really did not like her.
Oh my!
And I guess it's such a specific scam that they're running that like they're like, okay, X person did not have the money to do this thing, so now we're gonna go beat him up. And like they go and like they kidnap him in an open truck van, open back truck, and we're like, that's a truck bed. He could just yell help. He could just yell help right at that moment. They didn't cover his mouth. They just like tied him up. And then we go and he's like getting the money from the ATM, and it's just like, oh my God, it's chaos. It's chaos.
Yeah. And then when the other brother, he was just like, when Barry's just sitting calm, he's like, yeah, I didn't have the money. This isn't this is a lot of money to me. This isn't even the amount of money she asked for. The fourth brother just like comes up and he's just like, he's so aggressive in the way he walks. He just like punches him. Oh my God. I thought something worse was going to happen to Barry when he was like in the alley by himself and he was stuck. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah. I was like, okay, they're finally going to get to him. But I guess they didn't get to him. And then he like does that insane dive.
Yeah. Oh what was that?
And he's like running and crying. And then they pull up and they're like, we know where you live, obviously, because we kidnapped you in front of your house. And he's like, oh no, they do know where I live. Maybe I should go to Hawaii, you know?
Yeah. And the fact that that's like the first thing that he thinks of, he's not like, oh, I should go to the cops or something like that. And he's just like, oh, these people know where I live and they might know where I work. I should go to Hawaii with these frequent flyer miles that I haven't acquired yet.
Yeah.
And then there's the problem with there's like, it takes like 5 to 6 weeks to process it. And he's like, but I want to go today.
He explained it like 3 times to 3 different people. He explained it to Lena. He explained it when he was talking over the phone. He like when he's looking through the store, you're like, what the hell is he doing? I was like, why did you come to the grocery store not knowing what you're getting? And it's like, oh, he knows exactly what he's getting. He's just trying to find the cheapest, healthiest choice option so that he can get the most miles out of it. For like, he gets on the phone and he's like, you understand that this is an outrageous deal and that you shouldn't be doing it, right? And he still is like, okay, well, it's $179. I could buy 10 of them and like get all my miles, like get the 500 miles. But what if I don't do that? What if I do something crazier and I buy 10 items of this pudding?
Yeah.
And he buys too much pudding is my thing, because you only need to buy 10 of whatever product, and there's 4 in a pack. So and each cup has a label is what he said. So he only needed to buy 3 packs.
Yeah.
But instead he has like 60 to 100 packs of pudding. And then he goes out to buy more.
And he walks out with the entire like display of pudding.
Oh my God.
And he brings Lance along as extra hands.
Yeah, and then he explains it to Lance, and then Lance is not saying anything. Lance doesn't say a single word. Lance is just listening. Because I guess Barry is just always talking about something in the way that he's talking about the pudding. So I guess he kind of just gets it. And he's like, well, I'm not like your sisters, so I'm going to be nice to you.
Right. Do you have anything else you want to say about the movie?
Yes. So I was talking and I was like, they make getting on a plane look so easy, because they only show like the last part where you hand your ticket to the person and then you finally get on the plane. And then me and Phoebe had this realization that this was definitely shot before 9/11, because it came out in 2002, which means that like they were like shooting it at the beginning of 2001.
Right.
So they were probably wrapped up way before September.
Huh. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Because there is, yeah. Wow, you're right.
So I guess there might just be a bunch of movies in 2002 that have like completely normal plane moments.
Yeah, well, yeah.
2001 that have completely normal plane moments, but like after that, any movie with a plane thing, it just looks different, after movies made after 9/11.
Right, because I mean, there is like the trope where it's like the romantic partner is getting on a plane, and they're like, you won't see them again for a long time or whatever, and then it's like that person then the other partner goes up to like runs and like goes up to the gate and like
all the way to the gate.
And it's like, yeah, that can't happen today.
They've changed that trope to like the lobby, you know, like after you've like handled your baggage and like the baggage is going to the person, but before you go to the area that other people can't, your love will meet you and be like, wait, don't go. And it's like, well, I already paid for my ticket. They already have my luggage. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, not. Anyways, moving off of that, another thing that I wanted to talk about, Barry's absolute violence towards the dudes after they get into the car crash is insane, because that is the calmest car crash I have ever seen in a movie in my entire life. There's no screaming. The camera is like doing the spinning, but it's not spinning and shaking. Right. So it's just spinning and they're looking at each other, and she's bleeding. She's bleeding like so minimally. And he's like, okay. He was like, are you okay? And she's like, yes, I'm okay. And he's like, okay. He gets out of the car, punches the first dude, spins up the crowbar, hits the other dude, chases the dude in the car. Oh my, listen, it's beautiful.
The fact that the first guy comes at him, he's like, you ready for this or whatever? He has like some line, and then with welding a crowbar, he walks up, and then Adam Sandler, Barry he just walks up to him and just hits him before he even gets hit with the crowbar. Yeah. Oh my God. It's
crazy. It's crazy. And since we're moving to the end, let me move towards the end of the movie when he shows up at D&D Mattress. And that moment was crazy for me because it was a moment where two absolutely insane men see each other, recognize that they're both insane, and then come to an agreement. Because he's like, and that's that. And D&D Mattress Man is like, okay, that's that, but like that's that. And then they just stare at each other and they're just holding it. And then Adam Sandler or Barry Egan turns around and he's like, okay, fine, whatever, I'm leaving now.
But then Mattress Man comes out and he's like, yeah, get out of here, you pervert. And he's like, what the fuck did you just say?
It's like, I told you.
And then he's like, oh, that's it. He gives up real quick.
Yeah, and then Barry is like, okay, well, I made an agreement. I'm a man, so that's that. Let me give the phone that I have been carrying for hours to this store manager, and then just walk out, I guess.
From California to Utah, he was holding that phone.
I literally looked up the distance, and I was like, that's a hike. California to even the closest part of Utah is a hike.
Yeah.
And he just drove all those hours.
With the phone in hand.
And then drove back.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's insanity.
And the fact that the Mattress Man was like, you drove all this way to tell me this? And he was like, yep. And then they're just like, okay. And he's like, and you didn't tell the police? And he's like, nope.
No.
And he's like, I thought, and he was like, and you didn't tell the police, and then he was going to start stabbing him or something. I thought something crazy.
That's exactly what I thought. I thought he was going to be like, and you didn't tell the police, and then slug him. And I was like, I guess it because if Barry had showed up there and they had immediately started fighting, then it wouldn't have been crazy for him to go to Utah, you know?
Right.
But also, if you think about it, the distance from LA to Utah, Los Angeles to Utah is crazy. Imagine being angry at somebody for 5 hours while you drive to go beat their ass. That's crazy.
You
have to be a very special kind of anger. But I guess if you knew who had gotten you into a car crash that injured the woman that you love, then you would be able to drive for 5 hours to go beat somebody's ass.
Yeah, I like the line that he says to Philip Seymour Hoffman, and he's like, I have an anger inside of me that's like unmatched because of the woman that I love, and you hurt her or something like that. I was just
he says, I have a love in my life, and that makes that it gives me a strength that is more than you will ever know, or something like that.
Yeah, I was like,
man, that's a wild quotable.
Yeah. Oh,
and Philip Seymour Hoffman is like, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. I mean, we got $500 out of you. I'm not going to give you back your money. Just leave my fucking store. Get out of here.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And then he takes the harmonium to Lena, and Lena is like, and he's explaining to her, and like at first when she opens the door, she looks upset. You know, she's upset. But
Yeah.
the second he starts talking, like before he even says anything coherent, the second he starts talking, her face immediately like relaxes, you know, because she's like, I love him. I'm not going to get mad at him. And he's still talking. He's repeating himself. And I'm like, stop being a hard ass. You know that you're in love with him. Like, stop letting him just talk for 15 minutes. Don't do that to him. But I guess he does deserve a punishment.
And she was just like, you left me at the hospital. You can't do that. And he was like, yeah, I won't. And then the matching camera movement from the push in from when they first kissed and this kiss, I was like, oh.
It's a nice moment.
It's a nice moment.
It's a very weird love movie because you're like, okay, these people love each other, but I have no proof of it at all. Like, you see them, like she's asking all the questions. He's asking her all the questions on the phone, and then they're in bed together, and then they're like on a date, and then she's like, can I go to your house when we get back? And like, those are kind of the only moments where you're like, okay, I guess their relationship kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just weird. I think like, instead of actual acts of romance, this movie's strength kind of comes more from seeing a person from what they are, accepting that person, and like those being the acts of love, instead of like chasing somebody down through an airport or like having a lovely 6 months with them, you know. Like the reason we are all like, oh yes, this is a romance movie, is because she is like, she loves him, and she shows it very earnestly by attempting to understand him and accepting him as much as possible.
God damn. You said it. Well, that's the end of the podcast right there. Holy shit. Oh my God. That was fucking incredible. That was very well said. Holy shit.
Thank you.
I have a mic, but I'm not going to drop it for you.
Please don't drop the mic. It's probably expensive.
I feel like that really is a good place to wrap it up. I mean, that was beautifully said. Thank you, Byron, for being on.
I'm glad I could help.
Wow. And you put in that thought of the harmonium and the car crash, that moment that you said, the way you explained it. Oh my God, this gives me a different perspective. Oh my God, thank you. What would you rate this movie out of whatever you rate it?
Okay, well, I'm gonna do the Letterboxd rating because that's what I rate movies on now. Like, I'll probably hop onto Letterboxd and like do my review of this movie after we get off of the call. But I'm definitely giving it a 4.5.
Yeah,
4.5 out of 5 stars because like I really like the movie. There are no glaring errors in the movie. Like even the weirdness with the office at the beginning is something that I can 100% assume was a purposeful like decision that they made. You know, so it's a 4.5. I enjoyed watching it a lot. You know, it's a different kind of love. It's a different kind of rom-com.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. I mean, I think
they're dramedy. I don't know about rom-com. It's not funny. It's not funny like on purpose.
Right. It doesn't feel. Yeah.
Kind of funny like inadvertently.
Right. I think. I mean, that's my score too. 4.5 or 9 out of 10. And I feel like the next time I watch this, which I think will be soon, I'm planning on watching this again soon. I think I'll probably give it a 10 out of 10 if I watch it. I mean, I'm watching it with a better understanding of what it is because of what we just talked about. Wow. So, again, thank you for that new perspective. Byron, where can the people find you?
Okay, the people can find me at bmanta_, that's BMANTA_ on Twitter, and Byron Crunting on Instagram at BYRONKORANTENG. And I also have like 2 other accounts, but you'll find them inadvertently if you follow my main account. So yeah, just those 2, my Twitter and my Instagram. That's all you need. Oh, definitely. add me on Letterboxd also. I think on Letterboxd I am Byron ANK, so that's BYRONANK. Actually, no, I'm also bmanta_ on Letterboxd. Well, it says Byron and K also there. Anyways, yeah, one or the other.
We'll try to link all of that in the description. Thank you for being on. Thank you for talking to me about this.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for suggesting that I watch this movie that I also very much like a lot now. So
yeah.
we both give each other a gift.
Yes, definitely. And thank you for listening. Make sure that you come back next Wednesday, for another episode of the Movie Club Podcast. Thank you. Bye.
I have so much strength in me, you have no idea. I have a love in my life. It makes me stronger than anything you can imagine.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. Make sure that you check out the other shows that we have on the Facebook, the other main podcast that comes out every other Tuesday. Make sure you leave a like, share it with your friends and your family. Go check out our YouTube where we have content from other Production 1200 works. And make sure you follow us on the Instagram. We post sometimes there. We'll do more. We'll try. Maybe. Like us on iTunes podcast, rate and review. Give us them 5 stars. And we'll see you next time.